everyone, it's good to be back. I'm glad to be introducing to you a new video today where we're going to dive in a little bit deeper and learn about an artist whose name is Henri Rousseau. Now I know some of my students have already learned about him, but I want to share them with all of you today, and then we're going to make some artwork inspired by him. So stick around if that interests you. Now, Henri Rousseau was a French painter who was painting around the end of the 1800s and into the very beginning of the 1900s. He worked as a toll booth operator in Paris and dreamt of becoming a famous painter. It wasn't until he was in his 40s that he started painting. After work, he spent many hours creating his art and joined a group of artists who exhibit their work without the approval of the official salon, which at that time was the only way to be taken serious as a working artist. Art critics laughed at Rousseau's self-taught style and said it was simple looking, but other artists encouraged Rousseau, who told him that his paintings were very good. Rousseau loved painting pictures of the jungle, even though he had never been to one. He visited zoos and botanical gardens in Paris and studied the animals and natures around him. Rousseau's paintings often resembled illustrations in a storybook. He worked on his paintings very slowly, inch by inch. Towards the end of his life, a few people paid him to create paintings for them, but his artwork was not recognized until after he died. But now, his artwork hangs in the world's top museums. Now, since some of Henri Rousseau's top paintings and his favorite themes were jungle themed, I thought it would be cool to show you how to draw a toucan. And a toucan is a really beautiful bird because of all of its brilliant colors in its beak and on its chest. So I would love to see you come up with some creative, colorful toucans. They don't have to look just like a real toucan. You can play with those colors and give your toucan any kind of colors that you want. Let's talk about materials. You can use whatever you have at home to create your toucan. Today what I used was a Sharpie and some crayons and some watercolors. If you don't have access to that, use whatever you do have to create your toucan. Hopefully you'll have something with colors since toucans are so beautifully colored, but you can use whatever you have and follow along with me. I recommend that when you follow along with me, you start with a pencil. That way, if you make a mistake, you can erase it. But don't worry, start with what you have and just have fun with it. We're gonna get started with me showing you step by step about how I draw a toucan. You can draw a toucan any other way in any other position, but this is just one way that I figured out works well and I want to share it with you. I'm gonna use a Sharpie so that you can see it a little bit clearer on my paper, but you use a pencil at home so that way you can erase any mistakes or if you want to make any adjustments to your bird as you go. So let's get started. I'm gonna start by deciding where I want my toucan to live. I'm gonna place down a branch that he's going to be standing on. So I'll place it probably about right here. And since I'm using a Sharpie, I'm leaving a little bit of space for his feet that are gonna overlap with that branch. But if you have a pencil, you don't have to worry about that because you can always go back and erase it. Like this. All right. I'm going to then move on to adding his feet. His feet are kind of a funky shape. They start in a little bit of an L shape and they curve around. His toes hold onto that branch. So if they're curved, then the toes of your bird, there's 3 toes, will look like they're holding on to that branch. And I'm just gonna follow that L shape right back up. And then all you have to do is repeat that. So follow that L shape, curve those toes around the branch. It'll really make him look like he's holding on to it. 3 toes, follow that L shape, right back up, like that. Then what you'll do is you're gonna start by drawing the bottom of the body and curving up to where his head is going to be. So I will start here, where his leg is, following my curve up to where his head will be, like that. You got it? And remember, if I'm ever going too fast, you can always pause and go back, see what I'm doing. So stay with me. Now I'm going to draw the spot for his eye. Toucans have some really cool colors and they have a wonderful design right by their eye. So I'm going to start by drawing that design that's going to surround his eye. I think these are typically like a really bright green color or a yellow color. They're really nice to look at. Then I'm going to make his actual eyeball. Whenever I'm drawing eyeballs, I like to leave a little shiny spot for the reflection. That's just sort of the color the rest of the eye in, like that. Okay? Then we get to move on to his beak. So I'm going to start by making this little curve shape. It's kind of big. It ends right under his eye, right about there. And that's what our beak is going to connect to the toucan's face. So once I have that, I can then start at the top of my curve and I'm going to draw a really long beak because toucans have some really long beaks. So here goes my curve like that. And it'll end right about here. Then I'm going to draw a straight line and connect it all the way back. This will be the top part of his beak. So now we need to draw the bottom part of his beak. So I'm going to start at the very tip of his beak and draw a line all the way back to the bottom of my curve, like that. Then I'm going to move on to his neck. And it's really simple. Since he's kind of in the sideways position, there's just a little bit of his neck showing. And it starts at the bottom of his beak and stops about there, because right there is where his wing is going to be overlapping his body. So to draw his big old wing, I'm going to start at the bottom of this little line for the neck that I just did. And I'm going to bring it over like this. And I'm kind of going to make sort of the shape of a D, but without the main line, like that, okay? Then we sort of do the same thing that we did with the beak. I'm gonna draw a line all the way out. And then since birds have feathers on their wings, maybe my line to connect back is a little bit more bumpy. Show some texture in his wing. All right? Then the last thing that we have to do for our bird is his beautiful, beautiful tail. And that is also similar to how we drew the wing and the beak. We're gonna start here, sort of at the end of his wing right here. And I'm gonna draw it all the way out. So you can make this as long as you want it to be. And then I wanna show that it has some feathers, so I'm gonna make some U's, half of U's, like that. And on my very last one, I'm gonna pull it back and connect it all the way to where we started with his body in the first place. And voila, we have a toucan. Now, if you want to go back and add some details on the beaks, if you look at a picture of a toucan, you'll notice that they have very specific places that they have color on them. So those are including the tip of the beak, which is red, so I can block that off for some color. And then I believe there's some more color up here and some more color down there, okay? So you can just block those sections off for whenever you want to color them. And that's pretty much how you do your toucan. But don't forget, you want your toucan to be living somewhere beautiful. So you can think about what kind of leaves that you want to add. Now in my toucan, I added big, bright, beautiful, bold leaves like this. And you can think about what other shapes you can create your leaves in. Will they be long and skinny? Or big and chunky? Will there only be a few? Will there be a lot of them? It's up to you. So think about how you can add those leaves onto your main branch and how maybe you can even add more branches into your artwork like this. Great job with your toucans. I hope you had a lot of fun following along with how to draw a toucan. Color it in with whatever colors you have at home. Remember, it'll be helpful to look at a picture of a toucan to give you some ideas as to what colors to add, but you can also use your imagination to make the most beautiful, colorful toucan that you can think of. So I hope you had a lot of fun following along, and if you can send me some pictures of your toucan, I would love that. I hope to see you all soon. Continue staying safe. I miss you, and I will see you soon. Bye.